History with Avalon and Joe.
Hey,
Hello. Oh,
Joe.
oh, hi.
Hey.
Wow,
So,
it's been a little extra while, huh?
yeah, it's been a little while, guys. Thanks for being patient with us. Yeah, everything's fine, over here. And in fact, today we're going to get right into it because we've got something really special to show you today. Who are we
We
talking about today, Joe?
well today we've decided to actually we're finally we're gonna crack open probably like the greatest fantasy illustrator, everyone's favorite cool guy, old Frank Frazetta.
If you close your eyes, the guy who the whole tradition of fantasy literature or fantasy illustration clings to his muscled leg, it's Frank Frazetta, the
Yeah.
god.
Now you might this stuff it's pretty sexy. So if you've got like
That's a good
if
point.
you're a sensitive soul or you are very small child, you might want to leave.
If you have an allergic reaction when you see an incredible body
Yeah,
with a
you
little oil on
this might not be for you.
it. Yeah,
And if you're afraid of tigers, this is definitely tiger warning.
good point. Yeah, tiger alert.
Tigers. Okay, ready? Is it just us now?
Yeah, just
Us
us.
people?
Yeah.
Do you love tigers?
Do you love sexy babes?
Do you love the subtle and anatomically perfectly drawn muscles of many different people?
Do you love it when Conan is there?
Okay, should I get the first
Yeah,
picture?
let's do it.
Okay,
Okay.
I'm gonna go get it.
This
Okay,
one's gonna be
okay, Joe, Abelard picked these all out,
yeah,
so get ready.
yeah.
Uh,
Oh, there it is. Yeah, this is awesome. Okay,
Wait,
so
Abelard,
yeah, what?
you said there was gonna be tigers.
There might be some tigers later. I just wanted to jump in. So one thing a lot of people don't know about Frank Frazetta, I guess if you sent your kids out of the room, they can come back in for a little bit while we talk about this. One thing people don't know about Frank Frazetta is that he did a lot of illustrations for movie posters back when movie posters used to have those, beautiful painted posters. Frazetta was one of the people who painted them. One of the things about this, but they all have a kind of Mad Magazine energy. Like he's always working in a more, like he always is illustrating comedies. They have these very like caricature faces and these wild compositions that make it seem like something really crazy and funny is going to happen. I can't imagine this movie was any good.
This looks like a worse movie than any movie I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah,
This this must be from the time when people went to the movies because they had an air conditioner in there.
yeah. I listen, it's any movie, in a way, there's something so quaint about movies where a big draw is that like the Wolf Man and the creature from the Black Lagoon will be in it. Oh, I hope the bride. You know what they actually, this is what they used to have instead of superhero movies. Everybody, coming home and saying, actually, if you stick around, the bride of Frankenstein shows up.
Man, poor Boris Karloff.
What do you mean poor? We should all be so lucky.
I know. I don't know. It must be depressing to be like I'm an actor and as time goes by, I have to sort of demean myself more and more and more and more.
Yeah, but I think if you're an actor, getting demeaned is part of the job, and the least you can expect is some kind of, or maybe one of the better things you can expect is some kind of incredible, iconic success. We're still talking about him.
Yeah, I guess so. You're right. You're right. Well, I don't have anything to really say about this as a work of art. I don't really like it.
Well,
It makes me upset, actually. It just looks at a silly party. Who wants to
yeah.
go to a silly party? I can
Oh,
imagine. This is like I imagine drawing this and like gritting my teeth the whole time. Oh God, just to be sillier. They sent it back to me. It's not
yeah.
silly enough, Frank. And I said, "Oh,
This
God
is,
damn it."
it's definitely one of those things that's zany instead of being funny.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I'm reading Frankenstein right now, and it takes forever for him to say it was me, Frankenstein. And the first time it happens, because it's like he says something like, thus was the soul of Frankenstein set upon its course. I immediately thought of the monster. There's no way out.
No.
Anyway, let's move on. This is what he did.
Yeah.
This is one of the things he did to make money. But the things he did for love and also money,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Ah, yeah.
Send your kids back out of the room.
Oh my God, I
Tiger
love it
alert
so
is
much.
back in effect.
It's so beautiful.
What a tiger.
No, this is okay. So here's what I think about this tiger.
Yeah.
No tiger has ever looked like this.
It's a space tiger from Mars or what?
This is not what tigers look like,
No.
but this is what tigers should.
This is what I imagine if you were ever looking at a tiger, it would look like this to you.
That's true. That's perfect. That's
Yeah.
what this is what you have to do with art. It can't be just like a copy of reality because we already got that. It's boring. You
Yeah.
gotta, what you gotta do is you gotta make it like better.
Yeah. It's a really tigery tiger.
It's so good. His eyes are so messed up and weird, and like look at how his if this tiger closed his mouth, his bottom jaw would like come up way past his nose,
Yeah.
lengthwise. Like he's just no, I mean that's the thing. Like if you're looking at the tiger, you're really focusing in on those teeth. So make them big and long.
Yeah, that huge gaping jaw.
Mm.
Yeah. And opposing the tiger, way on the other side, some classic Frank Frazetta guys.
Yeah.
We were saying we don't know the source for this image where it was originally published, but we think this is a Edgar Rice Burroughs, John Carter, where a regular guy goes to Mars.
I think he goes to Mars. I have not read a
He
single
goes to
one of
Mars.
these.
It's actually
Isn't
kind of
he
a
good?
precursor to, how would I know? I can't imagine they can be any good, right?
I don't know. I thought Conan wasn't going to be very good, but I read a bunch of Conan
Yeah,
stories
Conan's
and
awesome.
they are goddamn awesome.
Yeah. If you read
So,
John Carter of Mars, write in and let us know whether they're worth picking up and which
yeah.
ones. But I think this is one of those because they're clearly on the moon or in space or whatever. But it's also has this sort of sword and sandal kind of energy.
Yeah, this is a beautiful painting. It's almost like, I don't know, this is so good. It's almost hard to talk about.
Yeah,
Uh, like it all seems like it almost seems too obvious. Like, yeah, this is a tough guy. He's got a sword. But I'm gonna try to mention some things. I love the flat black of the sky,
yeah.
the way the planets float in it as though they are like glistening soap bubbles. The compositionally, they just yeah, it's just very good. The arc of the sword crossing over the double arc of the bridge
Yeah,
as this sort of X shape. The way the people are focused on each other even though they're kind of cheated, which is like this is a theater term, I believe, where you are, someone that you would be facing in profile in the real world. Instead, you're kind of turned a little sideways because
yeah,
the audience is over there.
yeah,
So he's done this in a way where it's just, it just works really well. They look like
yeah.
uh, you don't notice it. Hmm. That's hard to do. The landscape is beautiful. They're lit weird, like it's like super bright light, so they get these extra deep shadows.
I think everything is operating here. All of the pieces of this color composition, draftsmanship, paint, like texture, the things being depicted, the kind of design applied to things like the tiger, the clothes, everything is working together to create something really impressive. I think this is an image, and we'll see this in the later ones too, or if you sort of squint to just get the colors and composition, it's really startlingly great. The uh the sort of like earth tone, but also kind of technicolor foreground, that the little piece of colorful moss and rock that the guy is standing on, I think is the like secret hero of this painting. It's so weird and lovely. It's both kind of it feels very earthy, but in a sort of psychedelic way. Um, that, and then that is extended with the light on the space water, the space lake that the space bridge is going over. And then the trees, which are such a surreal color, like the palm trees and the castle form this like unified middle ground because they're in the same color family. And then the sky, which is like totally flat, like you said, but punctuated. Like it's what a composition, what a beautiful piece of. We were talking a little bit about the bodies in this drawing. Both of these people are very good looking, but both of them also have bodies that seem like they could be belong to real people. They're not totally airbrushy. They have like softness on them.
Yeah, I brought another piece along because I wanted to talk about this in more detail just for a second.
Yeah,
I think especially if you're dealing with like, oh, this is a painting of the sexiest lady imaginable,
yeah,
you often see people do this and it doesn't look like a real lady. It looks like an I don't know, some sort of like idealized, averaged out perfect lady. But this like the way he does anatomy, it looks like the people are made out of actual flesh. And when they bend over, like stuff kind of like curves and softens and bulges in places. And I arguably, I would say that that is much more sexy than like the most like perfect, like smoothed out,
yeah,
sort of like here, look at this. Hang on, I gotta get her, and make sure cover your eyes if you're sensitive.
yeah,
But I promise she is wearing a bra. It's
yeah.
just
You may
very
not think
skin
so.
colored.
Yeah,
If you look really closely, it is there, so don't
yeah.
yell at us. Um, look at what an this lady's so cool. I
She's
just wanted to look at this again.
yeah,
She's got like a real like individual human body. Like
yeah,
that is like a specific person. She's obviously awesome and powerful, and I love it. I love that he I don't know, it's the founder like actual woman to look at.
yeah. It's like the the other thing is that what she's doing, while part of the point of this painting is that she's so sexy, another part of it is that she's not concerned with you. She's not doing sexy stuff. She's not doing a sexy pose. She's doing some evil, summoning. She's got a knife. Maybe it's for a good reason. Maybe she's the hero. I don't know, but she's preoccupied with supernatural powers. She's not trying to like look good for you. She just incidentally is.
Yeah. She looks amazing. Her tiger is amazing.
Yeah.
It's just very good. And
Really, these two tigers would have a lot to talk about.
they're really incredible.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull this one off now. Okay, here we go. Uh
Uh-oh.
wait. Oh no. Oh come on. There it goes. Oh my gosh. This is so hard, you guys. Sorry.
Yeah.
And so like if we look back at the lady in this one, she's like more conventionally posed in a sort of, that you wouldn't if a tiger was attacking you, you probably wouldn't stand like that.
But it's also because she's a haughty princess of Mars, I would imagine.
Hmm.
Ah, no such tiger can bite me.
Yeah, maybe it's even a friend of hers.
Oh, yeah.
And she's about to say, "Put down that sword, you dumb man of Earth. That's my pal,
Yeah.
Thorazaroth." Grr.
Yeah.
But she's still,
That's probably exactly what's happening.
that's probably what happened.
Yeah.
Um,
John Carter, you baby.
you imbecile, John Carter. Anyway, what the last thing I want to point out here, other than that, like all of these figures are really like the dude too, right? Like he's got his strong jaw and he's got his muscles, but he's not like airbrushed
Yeah.
super muscles. He also looks like he's made out of actual flesh, like a human.
Yeah, this predates modern bodybuilding culture. So even though he's strong and like well developed and good looking, he isn't at 2% body fat and he never drinks water or anything like that. He's just like a guy who's in good shape.
Yeah, it's nice. You love to see it.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty great. Um, okay, the last thing I want to say about this is that I think that a really good thing to do if you are an illustrator is to be willing to just lose information in a drawing. Like look at the blackness in the shadow on the side of the tiger. We're missing a bunch of tiger there. It's just a big pool of black. And that's fine.
That is fine.
That part of the tiger is not important. The business end of the tiger is the important part.
Yeah. Well, it also makes it seem like the tiger's like emerging from a shadowy place where the tiger was lurking, perhaps.
Yeah, well, the thing is it gives the focal point of the tiger, its snarling jaws,
Yeah.
it gives it more prominence because there's not a bunch of like perfectly painted tiger for it to distract you from it. It's hard to let yourself do this, and you have to be, this is kind of, it's not, it's not minimalism, but there's a way that people talk about minimalism that I think is really accurate, which is that the less you do, the more minimal your piece is, the more perfect that piece has to be. So if you have, if you have a sculpture or whatever and it's just a smooth sphere, well, that smooth sphere had better be perfectly made because any little like mistake is going to come out. And in a lot of art, if you detail every single surface and you paint in every little tiger fur, and people look at that and say, wow, that tiger fur, that must have taken a long time. They really got every little, bit of
Yeah.
fur on there. So
This was the thing to go back to the Dinotopia episode. This is one of the things which I think was a deliberate choice about Dinotopia. Every single scale of a brontosaurus was getting uh equally loving, precise treatment, right? Because it wasn't
yep.
the point wasn't to give you an emotional view of things or to consider it from a person's perspective.
But this is an emotional view of the situation. It's all like, I don't know, feelings and dreams and wonder, and you paint the head of that tiger with like exquisite brush strokes, and then you leave everything else to the imagination.
Yeah.
Just the way reality is.
Ready for the next one?
Yeah, I'll go get it. Okay, here we go.
So for viewers at home, you may not know it, but this is an illustration of a famous scene from a famous book. Try to guess what scene this is supposed to be. Who are these people supposed to be?
What are they
Jenna?
doing? What is that man, that large man with the large, what is that weapon, Abelard? What
A
is it?
mace or a morning star?
That's a, what's the difference between a mace and a morning star?
A morning star has spikes on.
Well, that one's got spikes, so it must be a morning star.
Yeah, they're not
Okay.
really, weapon terminology isn't really that precise and such a, or taxonomic, right? These can be both.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
Anyway, time's up.
It is the woman is Eowyn from Lord of the Rings, and the guy is the Witch King of Angmar, the Lord of the Rings.
One proud.
What's the problem, Joe? What could possibly be what's surprising about this to you?
Wow. Did you, does everyone from Rohan, do they all dress like this?
Yeah,
Don't they get a lot of chafing as they're riding their magnificent steeds?
yeah. Well,
Wow.
notoriously, the dramatic crux of this scene is that the Witch King of Angmar could not tell that Eowyn was a woman, and that's what led
Yes.
to his demise.
Yes. Well,
Looking at Eowyn in this picture, Joe, can you tell that she's a woman?
yeah, I think that this is a lady. I think because of her pretty face and her flowing hair,
Yeah.
and because she's not wearing good. But you know what? Whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe when he drew this, not a lot of people had read The Lord of the Rings, potentially including Frank Frazetta himself.
I
Maybe
think this
he
is
didn't do a
awesome.
very close read
He
on
did
the
a
old Lord
whole
of the
I
Rings.
don't think there's too much different between this and the like Amazon Lord of the Rings in that they're taking something that has some aesthetic writing in it, like writing about the way things look and about, color and adornment and stuff. But that's, it's a book, so it's not spelling everything out in detail. And so you have to, figure out the visual identity yourself. And in doing so, you apply the template that you already know, right? In this case, like 80s and 70s sword and sorcery stuff, right? If you tell, Frank Frazetta, there's a guy called the Witch King of Angmar. You'd say, well, he's probably wearing like a cloak, a cool helmet. He probably is ripped.
Pants?
No, we don't have pants. This is maybe the biggest sea change in like tradition, or like regular mainstream fantasy art. Nobody used to be wearing pants, and now everybody's wearing pants.
We gotta take the pants back off.
Or,
I'm making this a
yeah,
personal mission.
no pants
No pants.
anymore.
Also, I'm gonna get better at anatomy so that
Yeah,
there's a point to doing this.
no pants, all
Pants.
leg muscles.
Well, because here's the thing. Look at look at those dang leg muscles on that guy.
Yeah,
Look at how here's a complaint I'm going to register. This is something that find deeply unfair about the way life works.
yeah,
Is that I can look and I think anyone could look at those straining leg muscles and also while you're looking at those check out that guy's arm muscles. And you can see that like they're bulging as he grips firmly at the morning star. And so if I think like a lot of people who aren't as like clearly extremely conversant with the human anatomy as Frank Frazetta is, sat down to draw like the muscles of a guy, you'd be like, well, I guess they get kind of bigger, whatever. And it wouldn't be you wouldn't be able to look at it like I can look at this and I can feel in my human body, I have a sense of what this guy is doing, like where the strain is and what's happening. But if I sat down to draw it, I wouldn't know where to put them.
yeah.
But when it's wrong, you can tell, and I feel that I feel like it's unfair. Like if I don't know, but
Th-
I guess that's life. That's stuff just isn't easy.
Stuff is just like that.
Stuff is just hard. If it was all easy, it would be boring.
But the guy, the Witch King, he would be labeled like, you know, the attempting to, or like it would, you would be Aelin, and then the Witch King would be labeled like life's difficulty, right? You just sitting there, oh geez, oh beans.
Gosh, I gotta lift this sword.
There's a lot of things in this image, like again, one way it kind of diverges from the plot of the book is that Eowyn wins this one. She does not seem like she's going to in this image. She seemed like she's sort of given up. And the sort of focal thing, right? This is a drawing of something that is about to happen. He's going to smack down with his morning star, and there are so many pieces of the composition and like so many things of the drawing in general are designed to create that sense of anticipation of movement. So the observed draftsmanship of the muscles, like the anatomy side is there. The composition, especially the way the robe creates all these lines, and the robe by itself kind of is like a big curve that's holding the mace up. And then the way that light falls on the mace and creates these like sharp, very, very dark shadows on the spikes. It all sets you up to think, oh, geez, he's gonna swing that mace, you know?
Yep. One thing I want to point out is that there are a lot of moments of very messy line work in here. It's not like it's not perfect. It's not like perfectly rendered. There are messy bits. If you
Let's see, it's not perfect. Yeah.
I would say that the fact that like there's a part on his um it's like the lines on his leg and then nearby the lines on his leg there's a bunch of sort of shading lines that are on the white part of his sort of skirt coat
Yeah.
that actually the lines extend past the
Oh, sure.
edge of the coat.
Well, that's because they're not illustrating the color or the shadow on the coat. They're illustrating the movement.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. I feel like that this is what I mean by not perfect, I guess, is that other illustrators would look at that and say, I need to erase those lines that go past the edge of that part of the thing. And he left them in.
Yeah.
And they become a sort of motion line, which is like this isn't a comics drawing and they're not anywhere else. And just I think what I'm saying is that there is a great amount of like I don't know, it's just very free.
Yeah. I think there's a always a tension between the like the precision of draftsmanship and the fidelity of draftsmanship versus that sense of freedom, right? And
Hmm.
cartooning is when we crank the freedom up all the way and only we're really trying to just draw how things feel. And then with like something like this is in the middle ground, right? It would be the most amazing comic book panel you ever saw in your life, but
Yeah.
it also has this great sense of physical reality and observation.
Yeah, I think that depends on the cartoonist. I feel like we often have this conversation where we kind of go back and forth about the difference between cartooning and drawing in a way
Yeah.
that I don't necessarily agree with. Like I don't think they fall into categories like that. But maybe we'll do a comic book. We can talk about it in more depth.
What if we just did a 2 hour roundtable? Joe and
Ooh.
Abelard have it out,
Oh
drawing and
boy.
cartooning.
Which is better? One is best. Haha. Anyway, this is a great drawing. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's nice. I always love to see stuff from the Lord of the Rings that's not in the like, you know, Lord of the Rings TM
Peter Jacks.
style. Although I do, I have a great deal of affection for that too, of course.
Yeah.
But this is like from the before times when there was, you could still be like, I don't know, he's got a little skull on his belt, I guess.
I think it's just a different, I think there's like a huge change and it's not a sharp division between one thing and another, but our general, like what generic fantasy art looks like has evolved over time. And if you were drawing these characters now, we already mentioned they'd be wearing pants, they'd have pauldrons, all kinds of stuff like that. Uh, and some of that's nice. Some of this stuff is nice. I think this stuff has a kind of like dreamlike, iconic energy to it. It's not afraid to be a little silly.
Yeah. Oh, one last thing. You pointed out, you noticed this earlier, the route that
Yeah,
kind of travels towards the right-hand corner,
yeah.
the little mushrooms, that happens in the other piece as well.
The scenery route.
The scenery, there's an alarm
Yeah,
right
hang
now.
on.
Wow. I know.
Jeez, you gotta remember to turn that on.
Let's see.
But wow, so look at the scenery route, and I'm just going to show you really quick.
Yeah.
See
Scenery.
anything familiar?
There it
See a little
is.
route?
I
Oh, and now it's over in this one. Is there going to be another route in this next one?
think so. I don't remember. Nope, no route.
No, no route. Actually, an extremely restrained composition without a lot of detail.
Yeah. This is so good.
Yeah. There is something almost meditative about the way this is. Like, those like uh calligraphy of just one character, right?
Hmm.
Um, it's just it's about a shape. It has a mood.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this piece particular, every overdrawn, overpainted, like, fantasy book cover is just like, look at this.
Yeah.
It's so good.
This has the thing you were talking about.
There's like no painting here either. There's like almost nothing, but the stuff that is here is just so good.
The thing about like occluding information, right? So much of this painting is figures dissolving into flat shadow.
Hmm.
The guy that I'm assuming this has to be Conan, right?
Right?
The guy that Conan just killed, you see like one leg and a beautiful hand. Uh, like how do you convey that somebody is like recently got killed and stabbed by Conan and now their body is at rest with the posture of that hand and arm? Um, that you see just a glimpse of. You see light fall on it, but that just picks out a few pieces. You see just a glimpse of the figure. You see light picking out the muscles. The hair is almost smoky and it like a combination of hair like bleeding into the shadow obscures the face.
Yeah. What an interesting moment to choose to depict as well. I think that's
Yeah.
something else that makes this so striking. The moment of, not the moment of battle, but the moment of exhaustion after the battle. You've won, but
Yeah. In a way, this is perfect for somebody like Conan because I think a lot of more sympathetic heroes, you have to depict them struggling and not having killed a bunch of people, wiping the blood off their swords and just chilling out, right? Because that seems that's much more about the actual like ramifications of violence, which is after you do the violence, somebody is actually dead. Whereas like the one at the beginning with John Carter, it's like, oh, how's John Carter gonna get out of this one, right? You don't think about him actually using the sword. It's more of a prop. But
Right.
Conan is perfect for this because Conan is very unsentimental about just killing guys.
Yeah. Yeah, this is like one of my favorite pieces of fantasy art ever. It's I don't know, it's like magisterial. It's so good.
Big
The
sun like a soft boiled egg.
Yep, not none of this is trying too hard. It's so assured. I think, man, just that little bit of red blood on the sword, you know, it's all you need. A little bit. It's like a Caravaggio or something.
Yeah. Beautiful mottled red and purple texture of the ground in the bottom left hand corner.
Yeah, this is if you want to. You've got to. You can if you can get some stuff like perfect, like a little bit of anatomy. If you've got your, you know, you've got just enough face, you've got just enough arm, you know how to do that stuff just right. You know how to convey emotion through a pose that doesn't look stiff, but is dramatic, but it still looks like a person would actually stand this way. And then you do that, you do it extremely good, and then you just black out everything else because that part's not important. And then it feels like I don't know, I feel like this is more realistic somehow than like so many other ways of working where you pick out every little detail and you paint all the grass and everything. I feel like this is the way that like the brain works where when you look at things you don't see the entire picture. You pick out like the important bits and then
Yeah.
it comes into your head and you feel things about it. I think that's closer to what we're seeing here than a really detailed image. This just like, this doesn't, I don't know. I feel like this goes right to the gut.
Yeah, th- yeah, this is like artist communication, right? Understanding the way that we perceive things and sort of meeting our eyes halfway.
Mhm.
And again, if you close your eyes a little bit and just look at the color and the composition, I think this is extraordinary. Like this could be, this has the same kind of vibrancy as these as like an, I don't know, abstract expressionist canvas. Like it's just like a weird curved figure in the middle of some color and light. Um, yeah, I think this is exceptional.
Yeah, it's really good. There's not much more to say about this, honestly.
Yeah.
Just a good drawing, good painting. It's good art.
We'll come back and talk
Oh,
about more Frank Frazetta later, probably. We've got a lot of other people to get to,
yeah, we have
but
big plans, which is that people have made a lot of art, and we're not like we're going to talk about whatever we want.
yeah,
So we can just bring this back up later and talk about it again. You don't know what we're going to do.
we might do just the garish movie posters of Frank Frazetta.
No, I hate them so
Caricatures of
much.
Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis bouncing on a trampoline
They're so depressing. Please.
for a movie called like Table for Three.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Man, I'm glad that, well, well, for this reason and few others, I'm glad that I'm alive now and not then. Yeah.
I don't
But
know
what
how I
would
feel
you
about
say?
that.
Really?
Stop and think about it.
You would go back
Yeah.
in time if that was the only kinds of movies you could watch?
Oh
Really?
yeah, I can only watch that and like Stalker, 400 Blows, and Citizen Kane.
Okay, okay,
Oh,
fine.
what am I ever gonna do?
Well, you don't have any air conditioning in your house, so get ready to suffer.
Yeah.
Get ready to get, you're gonna be so glossy with the
Yeah.
antique sweat and you're gonna have to wear a hat when you go out. So I hope you, I hope you like that. Yeah, proper hat, or else the police are gonna arrest you. That's what.
Looks so stupid.
Yeah, well, too bad.
Jeez.
Too bad.
Grim vision of the past.
Yep.
I guess I'm glad we left it behind and we're here in the present with you. Thanks so much for watching. We'll be back again soon.
Thanks for coming by. Until next time.
You said.
Keep on. Wait, I no, because I said
And
the introduction.
until next time, keep
Keep on.
on dreaming. See, I said it.
God.
All right, we'll
Oh my
figure it
God.
out.